What if a workplace can be creative, exciting, yet mentally exhausting at the same time? Good morning, I'm intern Patricia Bilkis binti Kamaruzaman. Today's report focuses on a Selangor-based media startup facing high employee turnover among the fresh graduates. While the company is praised for its creativity, many employees describe the culture as creative but exhausting. A new mental health policy has recently been introduced, but employees are divided on whether it represents real culture change or simply strong employer branding. Let's hear more from our reporters Haziq and Arisa in our segment ABC Model.
Thank you, Intan. So right now I will explain about the case background. Breaking news, startup turnaround of PR stunt, the battle for mental health in Selangor. So in Kuala Lumpur, a local media startup in Selangor is making wave today, but not for its creative content. Instead, it has become the center of heated debate regarding workplace culture and the Gen Z shift in the Malaysian labour market. The crisis is creative but exhausting. The story began with troubling trend, a massive spike in turnover among fresh hires. For months, the company revolving door would not stop spinning. Exit interview revealed a consistent stinging critique of the internal culture, with former employees describing the environment as creative but exhausting. Nurin, a Gen Z producer at the firm, became the face of this frustration. Like many of her peers, she expressed a deep love for the creative work but admitted to a growing skepticism, doubting whether leadership truly care about the people behind the project. The response are radical new policies. In bold move to stem the bleeding, management has unveiled a suite of mental health focused initiatives. The first is Protect Focus Hours, granted meeting free block to reduce burnout. Next is mandatory check-in. Managers are now required to prioritize mental health discussion during one-on-one. And the last is digital EAP access. Employees now have direct access to digital employee assistance program. The impact was immediate. Applications for open role have jumped, with candidates openly stating they are choosing the firm specifically because of its visible commitment to mental health. The big question is culture or branding. Despite the influx of new talent, the mood inside the office remains divided. While some see this as necessary evolution, a vocal group of long-term employees is questioning the authenticity of this move. Is this generally shift in how we work? One staff asks, or is it just a clever branding exercise to win over recruiters? As the startup navigate this transition, one thing is clear. In Selangor competitive media landscape, mental health is no longer as nice to have in a core business strategy. Reporting for the Evening Nas, yes, I'm Isa Haziq, and I will give this about ABC Minute. We are breaking down a framework that is currently transforming how leadership teams view employee well-being, the ABC model. So, this is what you need to know about the origins and the impact of this theory. The architect who created the ABC model. So, for your information, the model was pioneered by the renowned psychologist Dr. Albert Ellis. While it is a cornerstone of psychology, it has found a new home in the corporate world as a vital tool for cognitive behavioral therapy, or we can call as CBT, and attitude assessment. So why it was developed? Dr. Ellis designed this model with a specific goal in mind, to provide a way to reframe negative feelings. It was built to show that our emotion distress doesn't just come from what happened to us, but from our belief about those events. In workplace setting, like the Selangor startup we have been tracking, it is used to explain how belief about mental health support directly shape an employee effect, healing, and their behavioral intention, such as the decision to stay or quit. Next, so the model is for who? So it originally created for clinical therapy. So who is the model for? So who is this model for? it was originally created for clinical therapy, but the business model is now specialized for employee in high stress environment. I can give example like Nurin, who may feel exhausted and unsupported until a policy change shift her cognitive belief about the company. Next is corporate leadership. It serves as a roadmap for managers to understand that branding exercises are not enough. They must change the cognitive belief of their staff to improve retention. And the last is for HR professional. It is used to analyze Evelyn, or we can call it exit, voice, loyalty, and neglect. The pattern is basically for high turnover occur when negative attitude can go unaddressed. So just that from me.
Thank you, Intan and Haziq. Hi everyone, my name is Arisa Maisara binti Ahmad, and I will continue about employee attitude at the Selangor Media Startup, where we can clearly understand through the ABC model. From the cognitive aspect, many employees initially believe that management prioritizes performance over mental well-being. Long working hours and constant pressure strengthen the perception that leadership did not genuinely care about employee health. However, the introduction of meeting-free focus hours, mental health check-in, and digital EAP tool began to shift some of this belief. This change in belief influenced the affective component, which refer to emotion. Employees like Nurin continue to enjoy the creative nature of their work, but previously feel stressed, exhausted, and unsupported. After the new policies were implemented, some employees reported feeling more valued and emotionally supported, although uncertainty remained. This belief and emotion then shape the behavior component. When negative belief dominated, employees show higher intention to leave and avoided voicing concern. As perception of support improves, employees become more willing to stay and engage and speak up constructively. This shows how workplace attitude in the organization are directly shaped by belief about mental health support, emotional responses, and resulting behavior. Back to you, Intan.
Thank you both of you. So the shift from skepticism to acceptance is dependent on changing the core beliefs and feelings. This brings us to the organizational response. What specific practices are designed to shift this perception? Let's hear from Iba and Maria.
Thank you, Intan. Turning now to the practical side of workplace wellness, we must ask what truly turns a mental health policy into real, tangible emotional support to bridge the gap between corporate promises and the actual employee experience. We look at the core organizational pillars. The first pillar is the delivery of genuine emotional support. This is implemented by prioritizing specialized training for managers, teaching them to engage with their teams through a lens of empathy rather than just corporate logic. During mental health check-ins, this means moving beyond a tick box approach to practice active listening, where managers give full attention, expressing care for the individual's situation, and ensure a consistent follow-up on any issues raised to show that the support is ongoing. The impact of this is significant. When employees feel supported at a human level, it builds a stronger effective commitment and significantly raises their overall perceived organizational support. The second critical area is the effort to strengthen organizational justice and trust. This is implemented through structural change that respect the employee's time and mental capacity. Enforce protected meeting-free focus hours. This is put into practice by blocking out specific time on the company-wide calendar where no meetings can be scheduled, allowing employees to focus on deep work without interruptions. Actively reduce excessive workloads. Managers implement this by reviewing task distributions and setting realistic deadlines to prevent burnout before it starts. Provide flexible scheduling. Organizations can offer staggered hours or remote work options that accommodate the diverse personal needs of a modern workforce. Create dedicated stress-free zone. This involves designing physical space in the office, such as quiet rooms or relaxation lounge, especially in tandem for mental recovery during the work days. The impact of these justice-based practices is transformative. This initiative fosters positive emotional experiences, leading to higher job satisfaction and improved employee retention. Most importantly, they instill a stronger belief within the workforce that the organization is genuinely committed to supporting their well-being. Next, Maria will explain furthermore.
In organization behavior, jobs satisfaction refer to how employees feel about their work, their workplace, and how they are treated by the organization. A positive work environment is not about physical comfort, but also about fair management practice, effective communication, and genuine concern for employee well-being. One important practice that organization can implement is transparent communication, especially when there are change in policy or organization decisions. When management clearly explain why changes are made and how they will affect, workers feel respect and include. This openness reduce uncertainty, prevent misunderstanding, and minimize workplace rumors. As a result, employees are more likely to trust management and feel secure in their role. Another key practice is fair workload distribution. When workload are distributed evenly and based on employee ability, job load and capacity, employees are less likely to feel stressed or overworked. Fair distribution helps prevent burnout and resistance among team members. It also increases productivity because employees feel that expectations are reasonable and accessible. When workers receive fairness in how tasks are assigned, they are more motivated to contribute and perform well. In addition, organizations should assure a consistent enforcement of well-being rules. Policy related to working hours, leave entitlement, flexible work agreement, and mental health support should be applied equally to all employees. Inconsistent enforcement can lead to feeling of favoritism and injustice. However, when well-being rules are enforced fairly and consistently, employees feel protected and valued by the organization. This creates a supportive environment where employees can maintain a healthy workplace environment. The impact of this practice and employee is highly positive. Firstly, they help develop trust in leadership. When employees see that management communicates honestly, treat everyone fairly, and prototype well-being, they are more likely to trust organizational leadership. This trust creates normative commitment where employees feel a sense of responsibility and loyalty to the organization, as well as effective commitment where employees feel emotionally attached to stay in the organization. Last, best practice improve employee receive organizational support or POS. When employees believe that the organization care about their well-being and value their contribution, they feel more appreciated and supported. High POS lead to high job satisfaction, stronger organizational commitment, and lower turnover intention. In conclusion, improving job satisfaction requires organization to focus on building a positive and supportive work environment, through transparent communication, fair workload distribution, and consistent enforcement of well-being policy. Organization can focus trust, commitment, and a strong sense of organizational support among employees. Ultimately, this not only benefit employees but also enhance overall organization performance.
That covers the immediate intervention. But what happens if after 6 months, this attitude haven't changed? The Simon proposes a mini case study. What will this investigation look like? To understand why employee attitude did not improve after 6 months, data was collected from 4 main resources. Employee surveys measure attitude and satisfaction with mental health initiatives. Interviews with employees and managers reveal real workplace experiences and leadership behavior. Focus group discussion explore whether employees view the policy as genuine and symbolic. Finally, HR records such as turnover, absenteeism, and EAP usage will review to assess actual changes in well-being. Based on the finding, several issues are expected to emerge. Although mental health policy were introduced, they were not consistently practiced by the managers. Workloads remained heavy, burnout continued, and communication was often unclear. As a result, trust in the leadership and psychological safety remained low, causing employee attitude to stay negative, not because of the policy were ineffective, but because they were not applied in daily practices.
I'm Nur Azizafiana, and in this segment, I'll be reporting on what would the data reveal if attitudes remain unchanged. To address this concern, the study proposed a mini-case investigation. The primary purpose of this investigation is to identify why negative employee attitudes persist, despite the introduction of mental health support policies. The focus is determining whether these initiatives are meaningfully implemented or perceived merely as symbolic efforts for employer branding. Turning now into the key variables in this study. The independent variable is the implementations of mental health support programs, including protected focus hour, structured manager check-ins, and access to digital employee assistance programs. The dependent variable is employee attitude, encompassing employees' belief, emotional responses, and behavioral intention, such as their intention to remain with the organization or to leave. Several control and moderating variables are also considered. These include workload intensity, organizational culture, management support, mental health stigma, and individual stress levels. If these factors are adequately managed, findings may indicate that employees view the policies as inconsistent or superficial, resulting in low trust in leaderships and continued negative attitudes. This reinforces a critical conclusion. Mental health policies must move beyond formal announcements and be consistently reinforced through daily managerial practices. I now return the broadcast back to Intan.
Before we wrap up today's broadcast, our in-depth segment on the Selangor Media Startup Crisis highlight a fundamental shift in the corporate world. What we have seen today is the ABC model of attitude in action, where an initial beliefs in a toxic culture led to a feeling of absorption and ultimately the action of quitting. The new policies, the protected focus hours, the manager check-ins, and the EAP tools are the organization's attempt to rewrite the narrative. They are trying to move employees' belief from skepticism to genuine trust, a critical step toward boosting both job satisfaction and retention. The question remains, are these practices a real culture change or merely a branding exercise? The answer lies in the upcoming months. If the positive attitude don't materialize, the proposed mini-case study measuring not just if the policy exists, but how they are implemented will be crucial for the leadership. This situation serves as a stark reminder to every industry. Mental health is no longer a perk, it's a fundamental pillar of organizational viability. That's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you for joining us. Wish you all a safe and well evening.